Hello everybody, CVM here, and welcome to my first moto video. So this weekend is the Invitational in Charlotte. Nope, in Columbus. The Grand Prix would be in Charlotte. But this weekend is the Invitational in Columbus, and it is, for the first time, will be a format other than Standard and Legacy. It will be Modern in Standard. And I have been working pretty much non-stop on the Amulet Bloom combo deck. And I wanted to just record myself in a daily playing the deck. So here it is. Let's go ahead and talk about it, and then we'll jump into some of the gameplay. So as we see here, it's just a pretty much standard Amulet combo deck. And for the most part, I feel like 59 of the 60 cards in the main deck are just kind of locks. So you have 27 land. Wouldn't really want to play any less. We have the 10 bounce lands. 4 of which are Growth Chamber. We have a Selesnya Sanctuary, 3 Gruul Turf, a Boros Garrison, and a Rot Farm. That's all pretty standard. We have 17 other land. The big difference is I like having a second Cavern of Souls, whereas a lot of people have been having a Temple of Mystery instead. But I think that the Cavern just gives you so much value against like the random control decks, or any decks that might happen to have like Remand or Mana Leak in them. Especially once you get into like your post-board games against some of those decks, where we're wanting to be able to cast Thragtusk and not have them be countered. I also only have 1 Tendo Ice Bridge and 1 Tendo, 4 Gemstone Mine, and 1 Mana Confluence. So you really have rooms for 6 of the 5-color lands, and I just prefer having 4 Gemstone Mine. And before I was running 2 Confluence and no Tendo Ice Bridge. But I think going 1 and 1 is just kind of a free roll. And then you have your 3 Teleria West of Asuva, your Stronghold, your Sunhome, a Colony Garden, your basic Forest, and then a Radiant Fountain. The rest of the deck, we have our 4 Primeval Titan, 4 Summer Bloom, 3 Hive Mind to combo with. We have 7 packs, 4 green, 2 blue, 1 black, and then the 12 1-mana spells being 4 Stirring Vision, 4 Stirring, 4 Amulet of Vigor. We also have 2 Asusa Lost But Seeking, which is just another type of Summer Bloom effect that will let us ramp into a Primeval Titan. And then we have 1 spot in the main, and it's been anywhere for me from a Simian Spirit Guide to a 3rd Asusa. I tried Oracle of Moldiah. I've tried, Dragonlord Dramoka, just random cards that you can pact for. And I mean, I've even played Explore, and I'm currently just playing a Manamorphose. So the reason for this is that I feel like the slot is just basically a free roll. For the most part, there isn't something that's going to be a high enough impact against the majority of decks that we have bad matchups against that I want the card for. So I kind of want it to be something that will just, it's going to draw a card. It's basically like we just have a 59 card deck for the most part with the Manamorphose, but I really like it in our post-board games against Blood Moon, as it allows us to cast our other spells in our deck, since the Blood Moon just basically locks us out. So having the Manamorphose in the main just basically means that we have a 16 card sideboard where one of them is just a card that we can use against Blood Moon. As for the sideboard itself, we do have a bit of a transformational sideboard with our creatures. So we have 3 Thragtusk, a Hornet Queen, and a Sigarda. So really you're just going to have like 5 creatures in your deck. Hornet Queen is just very good against all of the green-black X decks. It's also good against Affinity, and it's good against Infect. Sigarda is great against all of the green-black X decks. And Thragtusk is just a great value creature. You can use it against Burn, you can use it against any of the green-black decks. It's also not bad against the blue-white-red control decks. I could see the 3rd Thragtusk being like a Dramoka. I tried that for a bit. I also had it as a Wurmcoil Engine for a while, but I think I'd rather it just be a Thragtusk. The big benefit of Wurmcoil Engine is that you can find it with Ancient Stirrings, but you can't pact for it. So I think I'm just going to stick with the 3rd Thragtusk. I really like the card. We have 3 Leyline of Sanctity, which is very good against the discard spells, but it's also just lights out against Burn. They have to have a Destructive Revelry to hit it. And even then, if they're Revelrying our ley lines, they're not hitting our amulets, so it's a win-win. We have 2 Seal of Primordium. It's just proactive ways to stop the Splinter Twin combo, but it's also a proactive way to protect us from Blood Moon, and we can Manamorphose into it if we happen to be caught under a Blood Moon. 2 Pyroclasm is just sweepers for like the Elves deck, the Collected Company decks, Infect, that kind of stuff. And then we have 3 singleton artifacts. So Damping Matrix is something that I've recently been using that is going to let me, it's a proactive way to stop the Splinter Twin combo, since that matchup's fairly bad. I also like it since it turns off Fulminator Mage and Olivia against Jund. It's actually just very good against Affinity. So I've been happy with the Damping Matrix so far. We can find it with Ancient Stirrings. Haven't seen it being played very much, but I like that it hits some specific cards in matchups that we want. Also going with a Chromatic Lantern. So I was messaged about Chromatic Lantern a while back from somebody on Facebook when I first started learning how to play Amulet and was asking for help. And then I was recently working with Alain Trazi on the deck, and he had the idea to just use Chromatic Lantern against Blood Moon, and I actually really like it. Blood Moon is a card that's very difficult for us to beat, and I think that we're fine having something like Manamorphose in the main and a Chromatic Lantern in the sideboard just to try and combat Blood Moon. You can find it with Ancient Stirrings, and I think the card's just very good against Blood Moon. And then a Chalice of the Void. This card's, you can find it with Ancient Stirrings, which is pretty sweet, and it's very good against Burn and Infect. So being able to put it on 1 against Infect shuts off the majority of their pump spells, which is really the way they're going to kill us before we can kill them. So that is the deck. I feel like Bloom is well positioned, and I think that up until a couple weeks ago, it was probably just like the best deck to play at the Invitational, just because I don't think that a lot of people were aware of how good it is. Now there's been a bunch of press on it. I've been writing about it, talking the deck up. Some of the other players have been doing the same. Now we're seeing, many more Blood Moons and Fulminator Mages and Ghost Quarters than we have in the past. So, there's a chance that this deck just might not be good for the Invitational and or the Grand Prix. But I am going to continue to work on it. I've been putting a lot of time into it, and the deck's just really sweet. So we're going to play in a Modern Daily, 4 rounds. And let's go ahead and jump into the action.